Welcome back to my channel, Worth Old Coins. Today is best, top 3 coins. One you want to miss where. Diving into the world of Canadian coins, please don't skip this video, so let's get it started. Top 1. The 1978 Canadian 5-cent coin, commonly called the nickel, featuring Queen Elizabeth II, 1978, Canadian 5-cent coin. Full historical breakdown, overview of the coin, denomination, 5 cents year 1978. Country Canada. Composition 100% nickel. Weight 4.54 grams. Diameter 21.2 millimeters. Edge plain, smooth. Mint Royal Canadian Mint, Ottawa mintage. Approximately 89.6 million coins struck. This coin is part of Canada's long-running Beaver series, which has been used continuously on the 5-cent coin since 1937. Obverse design. Queen Elizabeth II. Portrait. Queen Elizabeth II wearing a tiara. Designer Arnold Machine. A British sculptor. Portrait used 1965-1989. Elizabeth II. Deg Regina. Latin. Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. This was the second official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on Canadian coinage and shows her as a youthful monarch, reflecting the Queen's role as a steady symbol during decades of change. Reverse design. The beaver design. A beaver on a log, water flowing around it. Designer G.E. Kruger. Gray design. Introduced 1937. 5 cents. Canada. Year 1978. Maple. Leaves on each side of the word 5 cents. The beaver is one of Canada's national animals and represents hard work, industry, and natural heritage. It also references the fur trade, which was vital in Canada's colonial and economic development. Historical context. Canada. In 1978, Canada was undergoing social and economic transformations. Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister, and the country was deep in economic debates around inflation and energy policy. The coin's design didn't change, reflecting the continuity and stability of Canadian currency. At this time, the 5-cent coin was still widely used and made from solid nickel, a material choice that underscored Canada's position as a major global producer of nickel, especially in Sudbury, Ontario. Coin production and circulation. High-volume production. Over 89 million coins were minted. The coin was struck using traditional high-pressure dies on solid nickel blanks, giving it durability. These coins circulated heavily and are still found in change today, though less often since Canada removed the penny in 2013 and coin use declined overall. Collector information. Rarity and value. Business strike. Regular circulation. Common value. Typically 5 to 25 cents CAD. Depending on condition, uncirculated, mint state, can be worth $0.50 to $1.50 CAD or more. Proof-like, mint set coins, made for collectors in special sets, known varieties or errors. There are no major varieties or known errors widely reported in the 1978 nickel. However, collectors still look for die cracks, doubling planche flaws, significance in coin. History. The 1978 Canadian 5-cent coin is significant for a few reasons. It is part of the final decades when Canadian nickels were still made from pure nickel. It retains the classic beaver design, which ties modern Canada to its heritage of nature and trade. It features a mid-reign portrait of Queen Elizabeth II that became one of the most familiar images of her across the Commonwealth. It was minted in high numbers, reflecting the healthy circulation of coins in the pre-digital payment era. Summary table feature. Detail year 1978. Obverse. Queen Elizabeth II. Arnold Machine design. Tiara. Reverse beaver on log. Kruger gray. Composition 100% nickel. Weight 4.54 grams. Mintage 89.6 million. Value today 0.05 to 150 CAD. Condition dependent. Top 2, the 1976 Canadian 5-cent coin, nickel, featuring Queen Elizabeth II's 1976 Canadian 5-cent coin, full historical overview, basic specifications feature, details denomination, 5 cents, Canadian nickel, year 1976 composition, 100% nickel, weight 4.54 grams, diameter 21.2 mm, edge plain, smooth, mintage. At 99,000 coins, Mint Royal Canadian Mint, Ottawa, obverse, Queen Elizabeth II, portrait, Queen Elizabeth II, wearing a tiara designer, Arnold Machin, a British sculptor used on coins, 1965-1989, Elizabeth II, Dig Regina, Latin for Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. This youthful image of Queen Elizabeth II became iconic across Commonwealth nations. In 1976, she was in the 25th year of her reign, and her portrait remained unchanged on Canadian coinage. Reverse, the beaver design, a beaver perched on a log with water flowing around it. Designer George Edward Kruger Gray design introduced 1937 symbolism. The beaver represents diligence, engineering, and Canada's fur trade legacy. The image links to Canada's colonial and economic history, where beaver pelts were a primary export. Cents Canada, 1976. Maple leaves on either side of the denomination Canada in 1976. Historical context: Canada hosted the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, a major national event. The country was facing economic pressures from inflation and shifting global markets. Despite these changes, coinage designs stayed stable, reflecting consistency and national identity. The 5-cent coin continued to be made, of pure nickel, highlighting Canada's role as a top nickel producer globally, particularly from mines in Sudbury, Ontario. Coin usage and circulation. With nearly 89 million coins minted, the 1976 nickel was widely used in everyday commerce. It circulated alongside pennies, dimes, and quarters in a cash-based economy. These coins were durable due to their full nickel content and are still found today in circulation or coin jars. Collector value and rarity condition. Estimated value, SAD, circulated 0.05, face value. Very fine, 0.10, 0.25 uncirculated, MS60 plus, 0.50, 1.50, mint set, or proof-like, 1 warth, 2 pows. No major errors or varieties are widely recorded for 1976. However, collectors may seek double-die errors, off-center strikes, uncirculated examples with sharp detail and luster significance in Canadian numismatics. The 1976 5-cent coin represents a stable phase in Canadian coinage with no design changes, the tail end of an era when coins were made from valuable, solid metals, a connection to national symbols, the beaver and maple leaf, and continued use of the monarch's image during Queen Elizabeth II's long reign, a pre-digital currency era where physical coinage played a vital daily role. Summary. Table feature description: year 1976 obverse, Queen Elizabeth II, Arnold Machin. Reverse beaver design, Kruger Gray. Composition 100%. Nickel weight 4.54 grams, diameter 21.2 mm, mintage, dirt 88.9 million, edge plain, collector value 0.05 to 0 KD, depending on condition. Top 3, the 1970 Canadian 5-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II, also known as the 1970 Canadian nickel, 1970 Canadian 5-cent coin, complete historical overview, quick profile, feature detail, denomination 5 cents, nickel, year 1970 metal 100%, nickel weight 4.54 grams, diameter 21.2 mm, edge plain, smooth, mintage, 69,916 coins, Mint Royal Canadian Mint, Ottawa. This coin was part of the standard circulation and holds the famous beaver design that's been a part of Canadian coinage since 1937. Obverse, Queen Elizabeth II, portrait. Queen Elizabeth II, wearing a tiara, facing right designer, Arnold Machine, a British sculptor portrait in use, 1965-1989, Elizabeth Tecu di Regina, Latin for Elizabeth. 2 by the grace of God, Queen. This portrait became standard in many Commonwealth nations during the 1960s and 1970s. It reflects a youthful but mature queen at the height of her reign. Reverse, the iconic beaver. Design, a beaver sitting on a log, dam building, designer. George Edward Kruger Gray, design first. Used 1937, symbolism. The beaver was chosen as a national symbol for its role in Canada's fur trade and its industrious nature. Represents hard work, natural resources, and Canadian wildlife. Facence Canada, 1970. 2 maple leaves flanking the denomination historical context. Canada in 1970 and 1970, Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister. Canada was entering a new decade of modernization, bilingualism, and constitutional debates. The Royal Canadian Mint was still producing coins in solid nickel, emphasizing Canadian industry, especially Sudbury, Ontario's nickel mines. There was no change in coin design that year, reflecting stability in Canadian currency. This was a transitional time. Canada had just converted to the metric system in 1970, and its society was modernizing, production and circulation. With almost 70 million coins minted, this coin was in wide circulation. It was made for everyday use, in a period when cash transactions were standard and coins had lasting value. Coins were struck using nickel blanks and high-pressure dies. Though the coin was common, some pristine examples have survived in coin collections. Collector's value and variance condition, estimated value, SAD, circulated face value, 0.05, very fine, 0.10, 0.25 uncirculated, MS 60 plus, 0.75, 150 proof-like. Set coin, 153 or point notable collector. Notes, no major error varieties or mint anomalies are known for the 1970 nickel. However, some collectors search for planche flaws die cracks or doubling high-grade uncirculated coins from Mint Set's legacy of the 1970 nickel. It is part of the classic Beaver series that dates back to 1937 and continues today. Reflects a mid-20th century style of coinage. Strong, simple, and symbolic. Produced during a time when Canada's currency maintained solid metal content and high minting standards. It's a coin that bridges 2 generations, the post-war era and the modernizing 1970s. Summary table feature. Details, year 1970, obverse. Queen Elizabeth II, machine tiara design. Reverse beaver on log, Kruger Gray. Metal 100% nickel weight, 4.54 grams diameter, 21.2 mu edge plain mintage, 69.6 million collector. Value 0.05300 CAD condition dependent. Thanks for watching my videos. PLZ subscribe my channel for more videos.